Yeah, so after testing out the Nintendo Switch 2 Wednesday night at 11 p.m. all the way up until now, which is Friday, right? But I don't know when you guys are gonna be seeing this, but I've had about 2 days to give my impression slash review of this system, and I must tell you guys, it's not worth it. And I'm explaining to you guys why. I'm trying to make it as short as possible as I can, because I'm recording it in the shorts format for TikTok and YouTube, and I'm doing it a whole video. So let's talk about it, y'all. I will say this, and I'm a filter. You guys have seen it probably from a different view. Just the laziness of Nintendo, and like I said, when I look at a lot of things, I don't look at no trailers. I don't see reveal streams. I just go off natural, right? And when I write these reviews, I don't write a script. I just go up the top of the dome, right? This is legit the exact same screen on the Nintendo Switch 1, which I feel like is a slap in the face. I forgot that the Nintendo Switch came out in 2017. And you telling me you couldn't give us a different home interface? What? Legit the exact same. And I boot up my Switch 1 for the first time in about 2, 3 years, right? And it's legit identical to them. You probably couldn't tell the difference. If I didn't have the Nintendo Switch 2 edition and Mario Kart World, you will legit, people would ask me, hey, is this legit the Nintendo Switch 1? And to top this all off, now, I haven't seen the store for Nintendo Switch 1. You guys can say this in the comment section. This looks very identical to the Nintendo Switch 1. Like, I just feel like this was like kind of the main issue for me when they did this. So that's kind of like that was like a major slap to the face, considering that the system came out, the Switch 1 came out in 2017, right? And this system is legit $500, $450. And y'all were just so lazy, y'all couldn't even give us a better, different homepage in a different store. You're probably saying, oh, you just complain. No, there's no reason to why this was the same. The thing also, what I have a big complaint with is the emulation, right? Now, I don't play much Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, the other Nintendo systems that are on here, and I was hoping there would have been a little bit more, but when I seen it, when I looked at it, I legit wanted to power driver my my monitor, because there was only 3 games, right? It was Soul Calibur 2, which I love it. That's a great idea. That's one of my favorite Soul Calibur games when I was a kid. And the second game was Legend of Zelda Widow Waker. Now, I'm not a big Zelda fan because I just started playing Breath of the Wild, but it's Zelda. You got to have that. I would have probably seen more of that. But there's also another racing game with a guy from Super Smash Brothers. I forgot his name, Falcon, something like that. So you have 3 games, but here's the kicker part for the show. You have to buy their subscription service, not the regular basic one. There's two different subscription services. You have their basic online, which is you can do. They have the cheap version. Then you have their online. You have the online plus expansion, and there's no monthly option, which I don't know why. And it's only for $50 a year, which is a solid, great option, right? Compared to Xbox and PlayStation, right? Because I play for the PlayStation's on yearly subscription, and I pay for the 120, so I don't have a problem with that. But the difference between that and this is there's a whole lot more games in the catalog, which is far better. There's a lot more games in there. It might not be a lot of PS2, PS3, PlayStation 1 games, but it was a whole lot more when they brought that subscription service out. So that was a slap in the face for me, because I wanted the GameCube emulation. So if you're expecting a whole bunch more for GameCube emulation, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Issue I kind of found, and I know it's a bunch of security things. I'm assuming is what it is. Now, you have to make this your primary Nintendo Switch, which is fine and all dandy, but they got to realize a couple things. The Nintendo Switch 2 is a brand new console. This isn't a Nintendo Switch 1. So I couldn't download none of my games or even update none of my games until I had my other Switch online. Let's just say I lost my Nintendo Switch, or someone stole it, or I sold it, and I don't know how to unlink everything. You just basically have a brick system, which is stupid. So I don't know why they put that in there with the virtual cards. I know they don't want people sharing stuff like that. They trying to save money and be cheap, but why that even considered to be an option? So you have to make this your primary. I didn't do the transfer data because I didn't get too many far with most of my games, so it was okay for me to start all the way fresh over to do these things. There's nothing I noticed too, which is insane to me, and I'll show you guys really quick. I'll show you guys really quick. Is going to be game chat. Now, it was a message that propped up, right? So the game chat, it's going to be free for a year, But if you don't have their subscription service, you cannot join it here. So I'm gonna read this right for you guys about game chat. With game chat, you can chat with friends while you play all together anytime, anywhere. During the game chat open access period, which will last until March 31st, 2026. If you'll be able to use game chat without a Nintendo Switch Online memberships, afterward no chats will be required to use game chat. Which is actually insane and ludicrous because let's just say my friends don't have the Nintendo Switch Online and I can't have a conversation with them. I'm going to have to use Discord. Oh, that's kind of what my biggest complaint with that. Now, I guess let's talk about some of the goods. Now, I'm mainly going to be using my Switch in dock mode because I do travel, but since I'm a content creator, I don't really want to miss out on any videos, any clips. So that's why I don't really play it. But I did play Fortnite in handheld mode, and it ran great. It ran smoothly. Now, this Nintendo Switch now, after damn near a decade, can now do 1080p 60 frames per second, which it did struggle to do 30 frames per second sometimes. 1080p 60, 4K 60, up to 120 as well, 120 frames per second. Now, that is a big thing. That's a big deal. But with that much of a graphical upgrade, in my personal opinion, what the Switch OLED should have been, this should have been the Switch OLED. Because the Switch already been out for damn near 5+ years. You got the PS4 and then you got the PS4 Pro. And if you remember with the Xbox, I think that was another upgrade with the Series X, I believe it was back in the day. So this felt like just a Switch 1.5 because they just made a bunch of graphical improvements. So that's why I feel like they kind of got lazy. Now, after playing, I played Zelda Breath of the Wild. I played Mario Kart World. I played Fortnite for a bit. The games ran smooth. It ran great. It played fine. I did have one issue where when I first ever started my Switch and it was actually updating Mario Kart World, for some reason the screen faded and it blacked out on its own and had to do a hard reset. So that's kind of a issue. I see a lot of people having issues with their screen breaking itself, the memory, the stick drift. So the dock is better. I don't know which idiot at Nintendo decided to put the Ethernet all the way at the fucking bottom for a dock, but he needs his ass whooped for that. But playing Mario Kart World was hella fun. It was fun. I actually enjoyed it. I played Breath of the Wild when y'all was streaming it. Y'all told me that the little town was better when you're fast traveling. So this, in my opinion, felt like it's really just a graphical improvement what the Switch One should have been, and they didn't do it. And they just said, "Hey, we'll just add new games and his name is Switch 2." So for $450 for the basic version, and then $500 for this version, is it worth it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Now, because if you're a person who has an original Switch and you're mainly looking for Mario Kart World, then yeah, but is it really worth paying that $80 just for Mario Kart World? But if you're a person who got it, if you never had a Nintendo Switch and this is your first ever Switch console, whether it be one or two, I recommend number two solely because you get to be able to have all the backwards compatibility of the Nintendo Switch One along with the future games in Nintendo Switch 2 and just future proof your game system. So that's the only way I can kind of recommend it until we get more games. I mean, there's Deltarune, there's Cyberpunk, there's Street Fighter. There's some games on here, but most of us have already played on a PS4 or Xbox or even PC. So it's like, is that really worth spending that much money just for Mario Kart? I mean, with the upgrade, you can spend $10 with Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and also Tears of the Kingdom. So it's a hard no just for that until we get more games and then they have to make some updates. And I think the main killer part for me that really made me raise my eyebrow, there's still no achievements. It's 2025. Achievements started in the PS3 and 360 area, trophies achievements. Why is there no achievements and trophies on none of your games, Nintendo? Like, it makes me feel like I just wasted my time to a degree. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of my impression / review. Is it worth it? Let me know how I did. It's been a while since I did a video like this. Love you guys, man. I'm out, y'all. Peace.